I hear all the time that we're not under the 10 Commandments, that we're under the commandment of love, because that's the commandment that Jesus gave, and also Paul talks about it. So somehow people come to the conclusion that through the commandment of love, that the moral laws of the 10 Commandments hold no value, or only a value that's considered for reward. If we are under the commandment of love, let's just go with the last part of the 10 Commandments. Okay, so it starts out with honor your father and mother. So are you loving your parents if you're not honoring them? The answer is no. How about killing? Outside of self-defense, if you kill someone, you're not showing love towards them. Are you displaying love towards your spouse when you commit adultery? No. Are you displaying love towards somebody you bear false witness against? The answer is no. How about coveting? If you covet what people have, is that love? No, that's jealousy. Okay. So right there is the last 6 commandments of the 10. And that's just a given. You know, if you're commanded to love, and then you go against those commandments, then you're disobeying the commandment of love. So then what about the other ones? What about commandment 1 through 4? Okay. I'm going to show you how those also are written in the New Testament. Okay. So we've already covered that the last set of commandments, starting with honoring your father and mother, are established through the commandment of love. So now let's go through and see how each one of these first of the commandments are written in the New Testament as well. So number 1 is no other gods before me, and number 2 is no graven image. And I'm going to cover that in one verse, and that's going to be 1 Corinthians 8:4. So 1 Corinthians 8:4. As concerning therefore the eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols, we know that an idol is nothing in the world, and that there is none other God but one. So Paul is saying this, and he's saying it as a given. Like, you know, I don't have to tell you, because you already know. If you're a Christian, you already know there's no other God before the God of the Bible, and that you don't worship idols. So what about 3? Do not take God's name in vain. So you have, Jesus gave the Lord's Prayer. And in that prayer it says, hallowed be thy name. And you can also go to 1 Timothy 6, verse 1. And it says, let as many servants as are under the yoke count their own masters worthy of all honor, that the name of God and his doctrine be not blasphemed. So it's talking about his name again. And when I give these scriptures, by no means is that like the only place in the Bible that it talks about this stuff. I just want to give examples so that you know that I'm not pulling stuff out of thin air. So then we get to 4. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, and it's the day of rest. Now, Jesus is our rest. He is, I understand that Jesus is not a day. And you get into this Seventh-day Adventist stuff, and it's all about arguing that. But this commandment was given to the Israelites because they labored in Egypt. If you go to Deuteronomy, let's go there first. Deuteronomy, we'll go to 5, and I think it's 15. And this is what it says about the fourth commandment. And remember that thou wast a servant in the land of Egypt, and that the Lord thy God brought thee out thence through a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore the Lord thy God commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day. Okay, so that's why they were commanded to keep the Sabbath day. So now in the Old Testament, I'm not a dispensationalist, so I'm not like hardcore like that at all. I'm probably not considered dispensationalist at all, but I do understand that there's some differences, and that's one of them. And this is regarding the fourth commandment in the Old Testament. Now you have the New Testament, and now you have in Matthew, let me see, 11, and it's 28, and we'll read 29 too. They all talk about rest. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. So, here's the gist of it. We rest from the law, okay? But that doesn't mean that we're lawless. It means that we hand our whole life over to God in order for Him to do His work rather than for us to do our own. And that's how we are resting in Jesus. And that's how we abide in the fourth commandment. Because it's not just a day of the week that shows us how we came out of the land of Egypt. It's every day of our lives, living for Jesus, Jesus living through us, through the Holy Spirit that He gives us. So it's not our own works. We rest in our own works, and we rely on the works of God. And that's how the fourth commandment is still in effect. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to say, and I hope you have a blessed day.